It would be very strange for MIBR and Team Liquid to fail to make it to a major. Team Liquid especially so, given that they finished second in Copenhagen just a couple months ago. But the results of this game could show us that the only way for one of these teams to qualify will be through the last chance qualifiers. Team Liquid and MIBR, the battle for third, very conveniently situated as our third matchup of the day. So far, in keeping with the bans, Ying and Monty have been banned in every single match today. That will continue here. Zami also a high ban rate. Kaid also banned out quite frequently. Azami banned earlier with a Valk. Valk has been banned in every single game. Do you think this will be Valk?
Just need the Valkyrie now, yeah. Yeah, there it is. I mean, there's a very clear preference here in the region. And this right here, this picture, snap it, boom, that's it. Those 4 operators are pretty much always gone in all of these games, no matter who is playing. And you said battle for third, and it's like, I really didn't expect this to be the battle for third. You know, as we always say, Liquid having such a great time in Copenhagen. MIBR having phenomenal players on the roster as well, but this is where we are. Now, the teams got here under very different circumstances. MIBR, they have 2 losses and an overtime victory. And Liquid, they've had 2 overtime games, 1 loss on victory, and then a loss to E1. So it really has been, I guess you can say, sloppy from both teams, and not at all what you'd expect. Skyscraper is I want to say, like, brutal map of things to go down. I think it is so hard to attack on. Statistically, it is a very hard map to attack on. You know, in MIBR, they're not a very good team on defense, so I'm very curious how it's going to line up with this. Is it going to be a 3-3? Is it going to be a stomp to one side? Is Liquid actually going to show up? Because they have really been missing since Copenhagen Major ended. Yeah, that went well. Oh boy.
Just to give some confirmation here to your talk about these operator bans. Prior to today, most banned operators on attack were Ying and Monty. Ying at 11 times, that's 61%. Monty at 50% with 9 picks. After that, it's Dokkaebi, Nomad, and Hibana at 3, and then it falls off a cliff down the line with 2 bans. In terms of defenders, Azami banned 11 times, Kaid banned 10 times, Valkyrie 6 times, and then everybody is 3 or fewer. So, just to show you, there is very much indeed a meta at the moment. Valkyrie is a stylistic ban because of how she is used in this region versus how she's used in other regions. Great flex operator, can be played on support, but honestly, we talked about it last week on the show, we'll talk about it again. Valkyrie can be very easily be played as a fragging operator. Hold on, look at this. Alu first pick. Why does it look like Volps is playing on a controller, by the way?
Don't question it.
I mean, he picks up 2 kills. Ress and Raduk, the only 2 remaining for MIBR. We're not even halfway through this round yet. Agonis getting the diffuser down. He's at the halfway mark. Out goes an impact. Ress getting attention. I don't know if the Yokais would be a factor at all. This round is significantly shortened now as the timer is the diffuse timer. Press boxed out. Volps with 3 kills. This is a close angle for resets. He'll duel with Perez. Perez wins the engagement. Killing half the diffuse timer in the process. Uh-oh. Volps go for the 4K. Flash around the corner. 4K indeed. Team Liquid win round 1.
I mean, controller or not, Parker? That was an incredible round from Volps.
It looked like he was playing with a controller. Am I wrong?
It did. No, you're completely right. And it looks so like casual. Like it felt like we're watching like a quick match round right there for like the first like 10 seconds of Volps go up the hatch, because he was just kind of casually walking through the building, not really doing anything, and then he just got 4 kills just like that. And this might very well just be a case of, again, it might be our defense. They're not having a great time this stage at all. I mean, how often can you just armor up the geisha hatch middle of the round and just pick up kills and you somehow don't die? Shouldn't really happen, to be honest.
Here's the stats on the bottom. Third place team, Liquid win, it's them. MIBR wins 7-0 or 7-1, which is impossible past this round. If MIBR lose this round, It's no longer in the cards as Team Liquid have won a single round. MIBR wins 7-2 or worse. And it's Vivo Keyed who finished third. Us, meaning Liquid, will have to make a run through the LCQ. Bottom portion of this group, Vivo Keyed, Liquid, and MIBR, very, very close. It's the other group where you've got some of the quote-unquote also rans, where you've got Netshoes Miners and Los, both not looking like themselves as of late.
Interesting. Fantasy is prone in the middle of the hallway, looking at the exterior window. Classic Fantasy fashion, always looking for a fight, always looking for something to be happening. Of course, playing that very front-forward kind of playstyle in Skyscraper can be very difficult. There are so many engagements that happens from outside the building and in from the attack inside, where usually you're just better off waiting. Kind of like Perez is doing right now, and Nigel as well. You're just kind of waiting for Liquid to get to the building before you do anything, because why would you swing outside when you don't really need to? ABCs of Siege, an ace charge goes off. It's going to destroy the mute jammer that was placed for the wall. It was destroyed by Volps on the Thermite. The nade, resets, cooked it a little bit too long. It wouldn't have gotten him a kill, but instead he's going to pay the price, take the damage himself, and force out a finger boost from Nesk to slowly heal resets back up to full.
Quite the endeavor. 2 more adrenal surges there. That should do the trick.
Yeah.
As long as Nesk stays alive, but if there's a player that might be involved in early action, you put good money on Nesk. Now these teams come very close to blows. Focus for Team Liquid is over towards this karaoke and T portion of the map. The bomb site is no longer here. Down goes resets, so adrenal surges can be used maybe a bit differently. Nesk slapped Fantasy so hard he literally turned into a drone. There's no advantage gain, so even though first pick goes to MIBR, it's a glorified trade. Next step, once you've cleared out that karaoke T portion of the map, make sure there's nobody down below with a nitro cell. We can see from our lineup, there's a lot of barbed wire on the board. Really nitro that was in effect was Fantasies. Down goes Rare, he decides to engage. Maybe not the duel that he wanted, maybe not the duel that he sought. Nesk has an opportunity for another, but Perez plays around that bar so effectively. Rayduct killed inside a Dragon, 30 seconds remaining. Very quick rounds so far by Team Liquid, as they've gone for the throat of MIBR to try to knock them off their stride. Rare's been picked back up, unflashing HP. He can still make some serious noise. Nice play by Nigel, gets Lagonis. Down goes Rare, the remainder is found. Now Nigel will position himself differently to engage with Volps, but Volps is just having a banger of a game so far. Perez trying again. He's got the read, only a couple seconds remaining, and he wins the duel. A tough state of affairs for Volps to find himself in, and MIBR wins the round.
So messy and all over the place, right? I mean, in MIBR, they got this really strong bomb set of office, but they end up taking most of those fights actually before Liquid, they hit the bomb side doors, so all of a sudden the bomb side looks weak. Liquid get into the bomb side, and Perez, the last defender who's outside, has to almost play for a retake. Of course, no bomb was, getting planted by Liquid, so it wasn't like a full-on retake, but it looked dicey there for a moment. Very close in these rounds, and it started off very quickly. Fantasy getting into that opening duel, a minute into the round, but it goes all the way down to the last 5 seconds before it actually ends up being a done deal. I kind of want to see my BR support Fantasy more on their own. This was a critique I had of them last time they played where, yeah, Fantasy takes a fight and he won it, right? He traded 1-for-1. But imagine he has a little bit of team support, either stick around in that position or maybe get escorted back to the bomb side or to a safe position, and you can get so much more out of those rounds from your member who is the only person with a C4, like you pointed out. Because Mute's the only C4 player, but he's the only guy who's actually playing in a position where he can't use the C4. It's a bit puzzling in terms of value. This run out from Geisha, we've seen this more and more frequently, and it's something that's hard to expect as an attacker. And it just kind of makes you have to be on your toes, drone out on the balcony before you rappel on up. We see Perez just, okay, he's repelling, he's not coming, he probably knows, the gig is up, reinforce the wall, nothing is lost. Neat little trick you can do.
Please don't shine a greater spotlight on that Geisha runout because I'd like to see it as infrequently as possible, especially in ranked games.
Fair. You know what? Don't do it. It's bad. That's why, Perez reinforced the wall because it's such a bad play that he even realized, what am I doing right now? I'm a professional player in Tier 1 Siege. I should know better than to do this right now.
Well, Volps has been having a very strong game. He'll be on drone now through the discovery phase, 1 minute off of the clock. As expected, the top floor of great concern for these teams. Back to a karaoke T defense. We have to say it every time on Skyscraper. As you see, Ray Duct holding over towards office side. Down goes Nesk. Nigel teasing a run out, a different one than the one that we saw inside of Geisha. This time by that office panel, could go for a run out on the balcony. The top floor is required holding for every single bomb site on this map. The Skyscraper's only 2 floors. You've only got one other option to hold. Don't see necessarily the most downstairs play when the bomb sites are up top. If Vasolis is left up on the board, there's opportunities. MIBR really is making it their own at this point. Lagonis and Resets, the only 2 players remaining for Team Liquid, as action is broken out all over the map. Now it's Resets in trouble. As you hear one of those proximity alarms going off, there's a swing through the newly reopened Geisha wall. Lagonis had opened it with the exothermic charge. He was almost taken for a spin. I don't know if he's going to wait. What a vault out from Fantasy that is. I suppose.
Classic.
Why not? 45 seconds left, and it's a 1v4 that Lagonis is in. Talented player. How does he get himself out of this situation? He doesn't. Well, I mean, I suppose he gets himself out of this situation, but in a body bag. MIBR put together 2 in a row. Go ahead, break that one down, Nick.
Okay, let me break it down. I'll make it real simple, okay? Liquid, they need to figure their stuff out on attack because that was Nesk as the only guy inside the building and everybody out on rappels and drones waiting for something to happen. And when Nesk died, they all ran as far away as possible from his dead body saying, you know what? That's on you. We're gonna figure this out elsewhere. And they also died sprinting into the building, trying to get somewhere else. And it did, like that round in particular, it's like that big question mark that I put on Liquid this stage where, how are these things happening? You go from getting second place, Copenhagen, you had a great time, you played extremely well, and again, Liquid are always so close to winning, right? Always close to success, but never quite getting it. And then stage 2 starts, and it just looks like they forgot what they were doing before, or maybe because they did not find that success, they deemed themselves unprepared or prepared incorrectly where, okay, let's change our playstyle. Let's change how we fundamentally view the game. I don't know. Because it's not like MIBR are putting up a really strong roaming defense here. It's just Liquid walking in really sloppily and lazily into gunfights single-handedly. And it's not how you're supposed to approach these rounds on Skyscraper. I mean, Skyscraper isn't the new map anymore. We've all played it in ranked a ton of times. We've seen it in pro play now a fair bit of times, especially in Brazil, where it gets played rather frequently, at least in the past. And it just doesn't look like Liquid they have a good read on things. I mean, if you're struggling with the roam clear, play Dokkaebi, play Lion, play drone operators like Nesk now on Twitch or something like that. I don't know. But more than anything, play together. Liquid has always been known for their teamwork, their ability to drone someone in, and have effective entries do the job. I mean, Nesk and Liquid were the creators of, like, put a drone behind a talented player's feet and just get kills, and now they're not getting any entry kills. They're just dying on repeat.
Resets 0-4 on Yana, on Nomad, on these operators, and on this role where you anticipate some level of success. Nesk with only 1 kill. Palu with 2. Volps' first round is really the only good look at any killing we've seen from Liquid up to this point. Obviously, the caveats here are that, yes, Skyscraper is tremendously defender-sided. Yes, this is a defender-sided region right now. Most teams are winning their defenses over their attacks. Yes, these teams are relatively evenly balanced. There's a lot going on, but Reset's going 0-4. Not getting droned in, not getting the support he needs. After you wagged your finger at Fantasy not getting that on defense, I think you can do some finger wagging with Team Liquid now.
You can, Like, this is good, right? They're all inside the building together, but again, they still lose the only gunfight that they're being given right now. That's Perez this time fighting that kill.
There goes Nesk. Down for the count, not on the Finca now. Volps running that operator instead. Volps has been swapping it up. In fact, Team Liquid have been quite fluid, pardon the pun, with their lineup. Perez on a single point of HP. It's as close to death as you can get, but with 1 foot in the grave, he can still have a huge impact on this round. Especially on that Warden.
Certainly can. No C4 though, so it's all has to be gunplay from his side, and MIBR actually, no, not known for their discipline, but this round is, they're waiting. They know they got Liquid unlocked, they have no way in, and look at this, if wallbang from Rare, looked like it's a operator swap.
Oh, it's almost flawless in the previous round. They find it this time, yeah they do. Anticlimactic to say the least. What dominance from MIBR up to this point. 3 rounds in a row. Opening duel going in their favor. All 3 of those rounds. They've now done a complete cycle. Starting with that office bomb site. Fixing their mistakes and winning karaoke on their second attempt. And now winning that barbecue kitchen down below.
I mean, MIBR, they need this 7-1, right? They cannot lose another round if they want to get third. Then it's all up to Vivo, Key, or Liquid. So, the one way you do this, right? You start defense skyscraper, which is great. And then, you know, you build up these rounds, just round by round by round. You get the mental advantage. And if you can get 5-1, side swap comes through. Liquid super tilted. They're kind of, you know, checked out, clocked out. Maybe MIBR, they can get that 7-1 victory, you know, and they are the ones who takes third. But at the same time, I mean, so many things has to go the right way for that to actually occur. So good so far, though. Liquid, yeah, they had that opening round. Volps armor up the gauge ahead, finding, what, 4 kills or something like that. But that really has been, as you mentioned, the only highlight so far from them, and the only round victory with that. And yeah, they've been fluid with their operator selection. We see now resets on Ash. We see Nesk back on the Finger, and Volps taking the hard breach duty. But I think if you're struggling like this, maybe finding stability and people playing the same operators might be more valuable than actually trying to change everything around. Because the areas where Liquid they're failing, it's the same position every single time. They're not faced with a new problem, they're faced with the same problem and the inability to solve it.
When things go bad, you got to try everything, right? Try rule changes. I mean, you look at the games where somebody, I think it was Iconic, was having a really rough game and they put him on hard breach one map because he just wasn't finding success in the role that he wanted. Maybe sometimes it just takes a little bit of a shakeup. Again, hard to diagnose what's wrong with Liquid here. I'm curious as to why Fantasy fell off of that spot instead of bandit tricking the wall as he was prepped to do.
I think that Volps faked it the first time, and I think Fantasy thought he faked it the second because such a long time passed, but Volps just committed to it. So
I mean, Fantasy has every single barbed wire in his back pocket. I mean, the sole purpose that you run a bandit is to trick that wall and make it a huge nuisance for the opponents. Now there's not a single barbed wire down, or well, shock wire down anywhere. No batteries. He's put down his barb. That's it.
Yeah.
Nesk dies, by the way. Nesk 1 and 5. Resets 0 and 4. These are not the score lines you want to see for Team Liquid if they want to stay competitive with MIBR. Additionally, there go your adrenal surges.
Yeah. Oh, Volps though, a little bit of life left in him. 7 kills now on his side, and he's just on the rotation catch right now. Sitting on that window to drag in, catching movement from Rare. But now, well, MIBR, they know this, so no one else will go into that position and die a second time, and Perez instead looking for another run out this side on the office side of things. MIBR are playing relatively passive here again, just like the discipline, recognizing Liquid struggles in the entry, not giving them free. What is this?
Wow.
What?
Nick, how does a man run with balls that big? I'm sorry, I just have to ask this question. That's quite the velocity. This is pretty much all over. What a wait. Maybe we spoke too soon. Wolf's getting the drop onto Fantasy, but cannot secure. 20 seconds left.
Oh.
Did we write the obituary? for Team Liquid. A little bit too early. Nope. Nigel sealing the deal. That's 4 rounds in a row from MIBR. Liquid in huge trouble at the moment. Also, don't look at the zombie on your screen, by the way. Don't look at that. You don't have to look at that.
Don't look at it.
Don't look at it.
Look at this. Oh boy. Dying to that? That's it. I'm slamming my desk. I don't care.
That's a stunner. I mean, valiant effort from Volps, honestly.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was like a montage
person who spawned into this lobby on this team at the moment.
Yeah. It's a shame to see, because if you go all the way back in time, Liquid, they had this kind of, you know, tag that they were a one-man team, right? It was like Ness walking in, killing everybody, and his teammates were just droning around him. And, you know, they won Atlantic City, and then they kind of disappeared, and they went through roster iterations and everything else, and I will give praise to Liquid and say that they have done a great job at kind of rebuilding the roster a couple of times and trying to find new like win conditions. And the whole like Nesk Paolo is great gunners with support stuff around them. It was the story for Liquid for like 2 years or so straight, where that was the working formula. And they bring in Volps, and you're thinking, okay, they get another incredible player, a big name, not the most experienced, but some experience, right? And surely this will fix some of the weaknesses from the team, because now they have 3 performers. But then there are games like these that happen so often where we look at the score lines and there's only 1 performer, and this time it's Volps. No one else is actually like you said, Parker, like spawned in the server, it feels like here. And I hate saying this so many times in 5 rounds, but it really is a matter of it's a 1 versus 5 game right now. And sure, the last one was close. It came down to a 1 versus 1 because one of the 2 defenders were injured. But you watch Volps, looks like a goddamn montage, like highlights. You watch the rest of Liquid, and well, you just see the death screen happen the first 45 seconds on the injury, and that's really the end of it.
Reminds me of those moments where it'll say something along the lines of like Team Liquid highlights, and then that's the end of the video. You know, it's like the map fly through.
I love that meme.
It really is Volps getting, well, in round number 1, very impactful kills, but besides the 4K, those are 5 kills that really didn't amount to too much. You know, and if you subtract 5 kills that are largely exit kills in rounds that are lost, which don't influence the round result whatsoever, you're looking at, you know, a meager 8 kills across like all of Team Liquid through 5 rounds. That's dreadfully bad. And I don't want to beat up on Team Liquid too much, but it does not look like they have very suitable preparation for attack. Because it's not just that this is a defender-sided map. It's not just that MIBR have the favorable side to begin on. It's the fact, the way Team Liquid is approaching these rounds that are troublesome. Not the actual flow of the map itself.
Well, I agree. And even if Liquid, they go flawless on defense and win the match, you can still give them criticism for their attacks because they were abysmal. They got this final round to make it look impressive, and they get the opening kill, but guess who did it? It's Volps, again finding that kill himself. Still half the round to play, and this is of course that extended area of the map, not the bomb site itself, so it's going to be the easier part of the map to be attacking.
Volps is just permanently nearsighted. There goes Rare. Nesk picking up kill number 2. Things going in favor of Team Liquid. So the timeout, whether it's settled some nerves down, whether it's screwed their heads on straight, I'm not sure. There's no way Fantasy flanks as the smoke and gets a kill. Nope, yep, that's exactly what he does. Back to Dragon, he goes. Fantasy and Perez, with the way that they've been playing, are 2 excellent players to keep in the dying moments of a round. Now it's Perez lined up to get a single pick. He gets away with his life intact. Over to Karaoke. Now repositioning, he's got a soft wall. Standard diffuse plant. Perez has to read into this correctly. He does so. A lot of faith that Lagonis has in Volps. And Lagonis gets the job done. If there's any player that I would be handing my life to on Team Liquid right now, it's Volps. Team Liquid trust each other. They get the diffuser down, and they manage to win the round after a pretty disappointing first half for them. Not just in terms of results, but also in terms of performance in all 6 of those rounds. Volps putting on an absolute clinic today, though.
There's also means that MIBR cannot get third, right? Because that's 2 rounds for Liquid. Yeah, so there it is. So now if MIBR they win, well, it's Vivo Kid who gets the place instead. Liquid, of course, fighting for their own life here, but MIBR, they're effectively out of this one, unfortunately, with that round loss.
Yeah, so that I'm certain that this is playing into their mindset. They were quite literally playing for their lives.
Yeah.
To the LCQ they go. Control the destiny, though, of 2 other teams at the moment. Vivo Kid, who's not playing this week, and Team Liquid, who are very much in this match, but don't exactly seem in the match just yet. But that's us just trying to read off of a single half. MIBR might look even worse on attack now. All we can do is speculate. First half was quite decisive, though. In terms of opening duels, MIBR won every round where they got the first pick. Round number 2, they got the first pick, but it was traded off very quickly. Team Liquid getting uncontested first bloods in rounds 1 and 6. And they won those rounds too. So whoever draws blood first has been incredibly influential. A 100% success rate for the team that gets the first pick. That's something to keep your eye on in the second half and see if that starts to change. I imagine it will.
Bit of a cat and mouse situation there. Volps with the rebounds jump out, but equally good with the intel was MIBR, who was holding the jump out at the worst with trade 1 for 1. Losing Volps early on Solis as your top gunner would be a very big loss for Liquid, so I like the fact that Volps is choosing to just run away. Kill that drone, waste a bit of time, and that is 5 drones killed in the first minute of the round. MIBR also a very slow attack, but the difference is all 5 of them are alive still. So when they do hit this extension, they have equal gun power as the opposition.
First pick goes to none other than Volps. So woo! Team Liquid strike first in this round. Volps breaking double digits. Nesk holding firm, picking up a kill himself on an Angel. Doesn't really matter to him that Logic Bomb has given his position away. If anything, it's a taunt to his opponents. Reset still searching for his first kill. Not going to find it this round. Fantasy overpowers him and continues onwards. Fantasy's going to look to the left, not knowing there's someone to the right. Almost winning the engagement against Palu. Could have almost won it. I spoke it into existence. I said maybe MIBR will show some issues on attack themselves. It certainly seems so. Ray Duct against the world. Palu finishing things off. Very defender-sided. Skyscraper continues.
Yep. And that's the thing, like, it's not a surprise that it's going to be a defender-sided map, it's just a surprise at how bad the attacks were. I want to emphasize that, because I'm not expecting 5 clean attacking round victories from any team in the world, really, to be honest. But I expect you to get in the building and to show some competence around the roam clear and where you're going to be entering from. And again, just like the simple things like, are you going to go in alone and just die for nothing? Is there a trade? Is there a drone? Is there intel? Is there Nate below? Because there's so many tools you have at your disposal on attack. We saw a classic fantasy move last round where his team was struggling on the intro because they lost the duels to Volps and Nesk. So Fantasy just runs in the building, gets his own kill, but then no one else finds success elsewhere. And of course, Fantasy eventually in the middle of the map, stuck between 2 enemies basically, can't get much done himself. But yeah, Liquid, of course, are going to be much more happy on the defense side. No surprise to us. They did have the tactical timeout, where I'm sure they spoke about the general direction of the rounds, more so than, oh, this round was bad, we're on attack, wah wah. I think it's going to be more about the fundamentals and the basics here, right? Again, they're playing together, make trades. Probably communication, I imagine, is a very big talking point for them during the tactical timeout, because they simply did not seem like they were communicating all that much. MIBR, they're gonna try a couple of things in attack. To no surprise, one of those is going to be the nuke. Sneak around, look for those opening duels, because I do think they'll be very valuable here. Volps, very proactive last round on the roam. If the nuke can find him, for example, be a very big pick from MIBR to start things off. But if not, in general, just having an extra set of grenades is always going to be valuable. Whether you're roaming with the nuke or playing with your team, always find something to do on that operator.
Goes one of those tread mines. So it's the first bit of information. Nesk giving his life away. And there's Resets to engage, who still is unable to buy a kill. Fantasy picking up 2 very early on, and you'll never guess who kills him.
Was it Volps by any chance?
You would be correct. It was indeed Volps.
That man is unstoppable right now. I will say I love the double kill from Fantasy, but he's a phenomenal player, one of the most quote-unquote aggressive players, one of the best entries in the game probably, in what he does best. But he also overheats and overswings the third, right? He could have been alive for this. Lagonis. You can trust that man without life, but it's him and Paolo rather in a 2 versus 2. And somehow Liquid, they actually get the kills back into an even ground here. But they have bump site control, so it's going to be very hard for MIBR to break this area.
The whole purpose of a Nook is to be silent.
Yeah,
and when you have to smash your way through those barricades, silence isn't exactly something that springs to mind. They'll refocus their efforts as they go downstairs through the main floor. And Rayduct is now moving house side. There's a ping on a mirror window. Lagonis gets flashed as the Kiba barrier will provide him some protection. Rayduct gets the mirror window. And know where one of these players are. You're gonna come out house stairs? Is it gonna be main stairs? Oh, nicely tossed as Palu detonates from below. Lagonis still playing this tight angle. He should be safe from behind. There was plenty of time for MIBR to get their ducks in a row, and that's exactly what they will do. Lagonis looks the wrong way. I thought he saw him, but he doesn't. Rayduct saves his team when... he had his back to him. Did he not know that it was opened up? I'm not sure. Either way, MIBR bail themselves out of a bad spot. They'll grab a 5th round. Team Liquid watching their shots that go into Atlanta slip away minute by minute.
Yep. I mean, again, the opening duel there was just so big for MIBR. Even like, if you get the 2 kills, you just force the rest of the roamers to be very cautious because you lose that link. Where typically you have, 2 or 3 roamers, and if you lose 2 out of 3, that third guy is either doomed because he's alone, or he's forced to fall back and give up so much map control. And it's one of the things that entry players to do more than anything else. Sometimes they get kills, of course, but a good entry player will just make quick pace on the map. Of course, that's in together with your drones, right? A drone will go in, clear a room, you follow the drone, etc. And you can see how quickly MIBR they get into the building in those rounds. You see how quickly Fantasy will take a gunfight and win 2 in a row. And then, sure, he loses the 3rd, but his teammates are there to pick up the slack and say, okay, you got the kills, we got the map control, we still come out ahead. Yeah, they had a Nuke last round. Nuke was like one of the last 2 attackers alive, didn't really do a whole lot in that round. But you don't, as I said, you don't always have to do the gadgetry of Nuke. He had the grenades. Rayduct went down below and he was one of his 2 grenades that got the kill. And the other nade opened up the mirror window, which led to the 2nd kill. So a lot of value was found in that round despite Nuke not really being activated. And because of that success, Rayduct will now go in Gridlock. Where it's like complete opposite, right? Amaru, Gridlock can make a lot of noise covering, go up a hatch. But the bomb site is downstairs. Master bedroom bomb site is where Liquid will go to try and find success of their own. And it's not a common one, especially not one that you tend to win on.
Of course.
Okay,
Again.
yeah, but is it Volps getting a double kill? No.
Almost a triple kill.
She survived it.
The only reason... we'd have to go to the actual replay there to see, but I mean, a 3 armor survives that. If that was a 1 armor, or 1 health, now his armor doesn't exist anymore. Very likely would have walked away dead. Volp swings, gets 2 picks. Despite this, MIBR keep it close. It's a 3v3. I actually cannot get over this game from Volp so far. Palu has picked it up. Resets 0-9.
It's not a good look.
That's dreadful.
Yeah, no, it certainly is. I mean, thankfully, Rayduct and Paris are low on health, and you might maybe still have a goo mine or 2 on the map, but given how early resets died, not every goo saw life in this round, unfortunately. MIBR in this problem-solving phase right now, being how do we get into the building, the bomb site, with only 3 players, limited time, and only 3 drones at best. It's gonna be a tough one for them, but they got a minute to work with.
Still can't believe we're seeing this bomb site. I mean,
It's a rarity.
it very much is a rarity. So to have it be emerging and all the way Team Liquid want to play it, that's understandable. Terrace was the main source of conflict for these teams. Is out goes a nade. Nesk still watching that terrace area. Down goes Rayduct. They're closing in on the bomb site inside of the closet, but there's 2 castle barricades there and knows there's no real way in. Seems like MIBR just want to feed themselves to Team Liquid at this point, as there goes another kill to Nesk. Rare spotted from miles away. Seem to be a bit confused with how to go about tackling this bomb site. One that really shouldn't be as good for the defenders. Nesk peering through a kill hole. Rare reads into that one perfectly. He has to be cautious of what happens next because he doesn't have much intel. One silhouette directly to his right, the other to his left. How are you going to pull off a perfect 180 to kill them both? The answer, you're not. Team Liquid win the round. MIBR call their timeout.
Yeah, that's wise. I mean, the thing that's really happening these rounds that's really denying MIBR the success that they're aiming for is Volps. Every time they go in the building, they always lose 2 members to him. Easy as that. And sure, Volps dies shortly after, but the damage is done. The entry, that's where MIBR they shine, and they're not really finding that entry success right now. Liquid as well, they did a great job to set up that bomb site because we saw the castle barricades. Sure, they stopped their own movement by, barricading off both doorways and toilet, or next to toilet rather. But it also means that if the attackers jump in that window, they're stuck. And we saw Rare with Ibana with 0 pellets left jump in. Castle barricades to his left, castle barricades to his right. Okay, I guess I'll jump out again because I literally cannot do anything in this room. Just kind of making some areas of the map inaccessible to anybody, and then just, roaming on the rest. It's a good look for Liquid. MIBR with the timeout, that means both teams have called it. We still got a handful of rounds to go at least. It's only round number 10 here. Of course, MIBR could win a swift 2 rounds in a row, and that's it, but with the current pace, I'm not really expecting that to be the case, to be honest.
Back over to Karaoke and T. This bomb site being attacker favored, actually. 3-4 plays. Oh, 50-50. MIBR won it once on defense. Team Liquid prevailed here twice on attack. Team Liquid won it again on defense. So maybe it's just Team Liquid favored, as they are 3-1 on this bomb site. You think it's maybe a bit early that MIBR would call their timeout?
No, I think... it's now our next loss, right? It's either 5-4 or 5-5. You tend to want to do it, and again, you're gonna be on attack for the rest of this half. You might as well get ahead of the problem now if you know what it is. And that's the thing. I wish we had access to the timeout voice comms. I also wish I spoke Portuguese in that scenario because I don't. Because I am very curious what the general problem-solving angle is for MIBR here. Like, what seems to be the issue in their mind and their support staff, and what would they talk about here? Because if you just run the building successfully, but then Volps appears out of nowhere, like a nightmare, what are you gonna talk about? Is it slowing down? Is it droning more carefully? Is it gonna be to play more spread apart? I don't know. Flashbang galore and members will go in the building, surely.
Well, MIBR win that first duel. Team Liquid fires right back. 2 big kills from them. But to equalize, now Team Liquid losing the plot. Down goes Resets. Resets finally getting a kill, by the way, but only a single kill for this round. A nice C4 to confirm Perez. Lagonis fighting for his life. Can't get it done. I guess the timeout worked. Maybe we were wrong. MIBR move to match point.
Should we talk about the bomb site there? That was a T karaoke bomb site. And every single member died outside the bomb site itself and doors. So, I don't know. I mean, this is Liquid heavily committing to the roam, which is a good thing, right? We always said Liquid play close together, get those trades going. But if you play close together and you don't get the trades, it just means that more people die quicker because you're playing closer together. And then MIBR, it looked like they were gonna go slow. They had a Brava, they had a lot of drones in general because nobody died in prep phase. And then all of a sudden, 3-4 flashbangs get tossed out. They walk in the door, jump in the window, and they just get every single kill that they would like in that round. And the Lion is a big part of that. Because if you move as a defender, obviously you get red pinged. And if you don't move, well, they know where you are. So it's kind of pick your battle right there. And obviously Liquid, they chose wrong. And just like that, MIBR, they are in match point. Liquid, of course, they got a lot of bomb sites to work with. There are three very playable bomb sites. But Liquid did show us the weakest one of Master Bedroom and find success there. And currently for them, only that bedroom bomb site is locked. So they could go down to the barbecue, they could go back to T, or they can play where they currently are inside of office. Play those mirror windows, play the bandit on the Gonis, and try and put problems in the way of MIBR. But look at their attack and lineup. Not a single Heartbreacher is present. Now on some maps, like Border or some Chalet rounds, you might go, oh, that's not too odd. You know, you can flex it around. On Skyscraper, no Heartbreach. You're really trusting in players like Fantasy to just walk in and get kills because you're not going to have any fun on the bomb site walls. You're forced to roam clear, and you're forced to challenge Liquid on where they think they're the strongest.
Very pivotal 2 minutes now for Team Liquid. Will really be in for the fight of their lives. And honestly, if I'm a Team Liquid fan, with the way that they've looked this stage, I don't know if I'm feeling confident about their chances at the LCQ. I mean, you're going to be going up against a lot of freak show teams, and if your mental's weak, that might be your own undoing. Big kill by Volps answered back by Fantasy. Perez could potentially get another. That's Nesk on the other side of the wall. The silhouette to us, a big tease. Ultimately not in a point of conflict. I don't know if Nigel heard that or even saw resets. Right now, over by T, he will reaggress. Resets creeping up. Nigel goes down to Nesk. So that was a read onto Nigel from this position. Nade from below, and Nesk dances around at Lagonis gunning down Perez. It's Fantasy and Rare with the last two remaining. Team Liquid sitting very pretty at the moment. All they need to do is just wait out the remainder of this round. Pick up Rare, Diffuser down. That's Resets with his second pick. Fantasy absolutely butchering Resets, but Nesk had not moved out of that spot from Geisha. And he gets a very critical kill and a very critical round for Team Liquid.
You can see the Heartbreach being an issue, right? I mean, Liquid didn't really move an inch in that round because they're all playing near reinforced walls. And they can't breach Geisha, they can't breach the karaoke wall towards Nesk and the Geisha hallways, so they don't need to move. MIBR, they can't deal with the mirror windows. They're completely locked out just due to the fact that they kind of misplayed their hand when it came to the attack or repick phase, because when you drone during this, you should recognize what walls are reinforced, at least some of them, see the mirror, for example, and kind of play around it. And yeah, sure, like, it's not always fun to play a Heartbreacher, but if you want a great gun, I mean, play Ace, right? You get the AK-12, phenomenal weapon, has a zoom scope, etc. Sure, you don't get any throwables, there's no smokes, no flashbangs, but if you want that, you play Hibana. You want smokes, you play Thermite. You know, there's always going to be options available to you, and I'm not sure what MIBR's angle is. I mean, this could be the tactical timeout being like, guys, just catch them off guard, do something really abstract, and with this current operator attack, or attacker repick phase rather, it looks like another one of those. You see Amor being brought out, the Dokebi, Sophia, so again, no Heartbreacher at all, not even secondary Heartbreacher from MBR. It's another breachless round. And it's match point.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't care for it for MIBR. They clearly have some kind of plan. There's no denying it. You said it yourself, you know, it's... Oh, there goes Fantasy. There goes the Amaru. Palu, an easy kill. MIBR, you were so close to making a lot of enemies in this region. But Team Liquid get that first pick. This is huge. They can still make it out of this game in a positive method. Though they're going to need to do it in overtime.
I'm still trying to kind of figure out what the plan was there. I mean, let's imagine Fantasy was alive in Amaru. Because they haven't taken downstairs control, so it's not going to be flying up a hatch. They haven't roamed clear, so it's not a crossover. And they're not on the Geisha balcony, so it's not a Geisha angle either. I'm really curious what the exact plan is. One set of grenades from Nigel, but he's also not below. It seems like MIBR are all outside the building right now, just kind of fishing for kills, which that is a strategy we see teams implement where, you know, if the enemy moves a lot, you hold an angle, they run past you, they run into you, you kill them. But this is Liquid, who's in the last 2 or 3 defending rounds have moved as little as possible because there's no hard breach and because they don't need to. You need to force the defenders to move as the attacking team, and if you're not doing that, you're not gonna catch them anywhere. And you see Liquid, they look confused. They're like, where are they? They're calling us, but there's no one here. Like fighting ghosts.
While Team Liquid need to do the same that MIBR did, a 4-2, which is the scoreline that might as well be engraved in our brains. The way that these matches have been going. MIBR having some serious struggles now as they attempt to approach this karaoke T-bomb site. So far, seemingly in vain. Geisha under their command. Through the soft wall, they'll fire. Flashes go out as well. Brass will likely be the first person to get into an altercation through that wall. Nigel thinks he's found an opening. He needs to count his lucky stars towards those back stairs. He gets slaughtered by Volps coming back to the site. Volps could have more to be found, still in this position. Rare goes down inside the bomb site. MIBR trailing in numbers, but they've drawn it even. Liquid just need to find Perez, and it's Lagonis to do it. Oh my, a scare for the fans of Team Liquid. MIBR cannot close it out despite their lead. They are the victims of a defender-sided skyscraper as they were the beneficiaries in the first half. Overtime with Team Liquid on defense for 2 opportunities.
They're going to be very happy about that, but that round was so chaotic. I mean, it was just kill for kill and blow for blow for like 30 seconds straight, it felt like. And yeah, Liquid came out ahead because they started with the advantage in that round. The shutdown onto Fantasy really did the trick in that one. And MIBR, I want to see them play a Heart Breacher now. That's the only criticism, guys. Please, please pick a Heart Breacher. Liquid, they're really exploiting the fact that they aren't. Because again, they don't need to move anywhere. They don't need to play for the roam. Liquid didn't technically do all that much in the previous round besides play close together and just be patient. And that's the thing. Being patient and being disciplined, it doesn't always get rewarded in Siege because you can die from niche below and from utility and such. But when it finally does pay off like we've seen from Liquid in this game, it is so rewarding. Because sometimes doing a little is doing a lot. Simply staying alive. Having that extra gun late in the round, having a crossfire established, having a possibility of a flank like we saw from Liquid, just running up a staircase, because you have extra manpower, it really can and will often make a very big difference.
Sort of fascinating match between these two. Not that they've... See, look at Volps. Kind of looks like he's using a controller. Am I crazy here? Like,
no, you're not. Look at this. He actually looks like he's using a controller.
Yeah, like it's... All right.
He's got a really slow sense. I'm gonna look it up.
One thing I will say is I haven't been seeing... We haven't seen any photos of them at the LAN today. We haven't needed to. There hasn't been any technical issues.
Yeah, he plays a very slow sense, which often would give you the idea that it's a controller, because when he turns slowly, not fighting, it's really like, really slow turning, right?
Yeah.
That might just be it.
I'm not sure.
It's funny though.
It is. 1 minute off the clock. Palu's taking his licks, as is Perez. Perez, the standout player from MIBR, matching up to the firepower of Volps. It took a little bit of time, but the rest of the supporting cast for Team Liquid came alive when the side swap emerged. The only player who still struggled is Resets. It's like a Team Liquid curse today, like W7M's former player Volps, playing really, really well. Ask, former player from Team Liquid, had a really rough day. And now it's Resets in the same state of affairs. Nade goes in, missing out on a kill on the Volps, but Rare's died just moments before that. Advantage for Team Liquid. It continues to grow. Ness gets on the board this round by taking out Fantasy. MIBR have been in a very favorable position for the entirety of this match. Yes, they surrendered the very first round, but they have been in the lead since then. Team Liquid showing that patience and faith in yourself and the system might be rewarded, as Team Liquid, if they get these final 2 picks, move into a position where they're in the lead. Nigel with 2, answered back by Volps. It's Raduk to ascend the stairs over by Drum now, looking towards the office bomb site. Out goes a flash. He's got pings in there, and it's Nesk to seal the deal. Only 2 players really mattered in this round for Team Liquid, and they'll thank their lucky stars for that as Liquid now move to match point.
Now the final test, and kind of the cherry on top for all Liquid fans watching, is going to be, can they end this cleanly on an attack and show some success here? Because like this could just be Liquid having a really slow start to things, or it simply comes down to what side you're on. Yes, defender-sided map, but again, you can do more on attack than what we saw from Liquid, and also, to be fair, what we saw from MIBR in the final half of that second half. So, yeah, Liquid have an opportunity here to show everybody that they can do it right and don't need to crouch on defense to get it, but they've also earned it. If you start on the hard side when the game begins, you're also gonna go into overtime on the nice side. Because trust me, like if this is a game you're watching right now and you get double defense in overtime, oh, you're happy. You're so delighted, because it would be very, 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 very tough to go twice on attack if you're either MIBR or Liquid.
The 7th time that we've seen this bomb site get played so far. MIBR won it 1 time on their defense. Liquid won it twice when MIBR was on defense. Then on their defense, Team Liquid played it 3 times. They won it twice again. I jokingly refer to this as a Liquid-sided bomb site, but
Okay.
I think there's a lot more truth to it than maybe I thought at first.
It certainly seems that way. Normally when we enter OT, teams need to slow it down. MIBR, they were decently quick, but again, that's MIBR. I would imagine Liquid to take some time here and pay their respects, because they know MIBR, if they can find a fight, they can find a run out, they'll usually take it. Volps could also, of course, close in on 20 kills and 70 at the moment. Very realistic for him, but it's fantasy to start off the shooting onto Paolo this time, and Paolo, he's, had a slow start, but in the midst of things, started doing okay. He's 8-11 currently, suffering that death. But this round, he won't be on the board for Liquid.
Press holding court inside a Geisha. We've isolated him, and a nade goes out that if thrown a second sooner would have been his demise, but he'll survive for the time being. All the while, these HPs on MIBR are being whittled down, as some of the bullets from Team Liquid are certainly hitting their marks. Now it's resets to take some damage outside of that terrace window. Fantasy lined up, waiting for the Ace of Volps to swing on over. This is a win for Fantasy if the engagement goes the way it looks, but he gets mopped. Press dies. Or Press gets Lagonis, resets, dies to Rare. MIBR in a 4v2. But Nesk is still on the board, and Nesk, like wine, think better with age. He goes to Press. Oh, how sweet it would be if Volps can win this for his team, but he can't do it. We're going to 15 rounds. MIBR answer back. So far, the defense, 2 for 2 in overtime.
And guess who it is? It's Liquid getting that final round on the favorable side. So it really comes down to MIBR now and the final attack. Defense-wise, though, for Liquid, they've locked themselves out of office as they played that in their first overtime round. And we have seen a severe lack of barbecue kitchen, which typically is your tertiary bomb site. And both teams, they coulda, woulda, shoulda gone there, but we only saw it a single time. So it's been a little bit of a surprise there. And Liquid will also go back to G Karaoke, but according to your statistics, Parker, this is a Liquid favorite bomb site, right? Despite last round. So this is a great spot to be in. Operator-wise, I actually love that Volps bring out the Capcan, because it's not an operator that we see very commonly on Skyscraper. We have not seen it like in this matchup really. So on the final round, it's not going to be on your mind. It's kind of like, imagine you don't spawn peek any rounds, and then max OT, everybody's spawn peeking. You're going to be caught off by surprise. With how quick MIBR they've been in their attacks, getting inside the building and hunting down kills, these Capcan traps can do some serious damage if they all get put down, because Vop has 3 in pocket currently. But he's got time. Tiger's gonna approach the building still, and there we go. 2 on 1 doorway. Leaves just 1 spare. Much better.
Team that gets the first kill still having a major influence on these rounds. By my count, and I could be wrong, by my count, the team that has either gotten the first blood or has traded back immediately has gone on to win the round 100% of the time. We have not had a round yet where whoever got the first blood ultimately lost the round. This is the ultimate best of one, best of one. It is a single round on the single map that you are going to play today. It's been a long game so far for these two teams. In 2 minutes, it will be at an end. Liquid make it to Atlanta. Will they have to fight through the last chance qualifiers? MIBR playing spoiler here.
Oh.
Volp's first pick on the fantasy of all players. That's what you like to see.
And it's Dokkaebi, and it was through a wall, just kind of hoping for the best there. And this kind of flew under the radar for me. Perez on 17 kills, I honestly didn't really realize that. But again, yeah, shutting down Fantasy, the primary entry, the Dokkaebi as well for the roam clear, massive value. And of course, it was Volps who got the kill as well. Things they started one way, and they're trending to continue in that same fashion. It might be they've lost half the round when it comes to the timer. They gotta start making their move in their advance. Rita did a great job of droning downstairs. He knows most of it is clear, but we also know that Nesk is looking for something. A possible kill of his own. Minute to go. It all comes down to that middle line of the map, that drum area. Once you break this line, you're staring down the bomb side doors. But first, you're looking at Volps.
You gotta tackle that other side of the map. That's done. But you got the flank of Nesk. Rayduck knows, punishing him. Not quite a flank, but close enough where he could have gone through that restaurant side of the map down below. Equal numbers. MIBR looking to spoil the season of Team Liquid. Both teams 4 kills away from a very fateful result, but way more on the line for Liquid, as the timer is their friend. More hesitancy from MIBR, the better it serves Team Liquid. They'll use those Kiba barriers to patch up some holes. There goes Paulu. Nigel dies as well. Numbers still very, very close, but only 10 seconds left. Harass, a big kill on the Lagonis. They continue to march forward. Volps, of course, the man of the hour, but he can't get it done. MIBR stun Team Liquid.
On the final round of all things, when the pressure's at its highest and when the stakes for Liquid, they matter the most, again, they're so close to finding success as a team and as an org. And here's our third place, you know, is to avoid LCQ. But again, they fall when it matters.
Wow. I mean, you could have let Liquid have it if you really wanted to, but no.